Welcome to the Properties to Profit podcast. I'm Michael, your host. Excited to share with you my journey from a six-figure job to building a successful real estate business. Each episode will explore various aspects of real estate investing, from wholesaling and flipping to managing rentals. I'll share the lessons and insights I've gained, aiming to help you avoid mistakes and achieve your financial goals. Expect guest experts, valuable tips, and practical advice to guide you on your own real estate journey. Thank you for tuning in. If you find any value in this podcast, please subscribe, share, and follow me on social media. Let's turn properties into profits together.
Hey guys, Michael here with Properties to Profit on today's Monday Mindset. And today I am so excited to bring you guys today's episode. Today, I really want to take the time to talk about mindset and your perspective and how much your perspective on anything that happens in your life is really and truly what matters. So just to share a quick story of you guys, we all know two siblings who grew up in the same household and super relevant to me and my brother, and they went down two different paths, right? One of them went on to do something, never made excuses for anything that happened in their life. And the other one just lived a barely average life, struggled to get by, still needs help from others. Why is that? Well, it all comes down to perspective. And that's what I really want to talk to you guys about today is your perspective on the things that happen to life. We'll call those the event. All of us are going to go through things in life. We have very little control over those things in life that may happen to us. Now, a lot of us have childhood trauma. I know I have some childhood trauma. And I've known someone who has similar childhood trauma than me, and they did not do anything with their life. They said things like, oh, I went through this, so I can never do that. Oh, that's why I'll never do this because this happened to me, that happened to me, whatever the case might be. That is a victim mindset and will never help you achieve the things you desire and want and give you the most fulfilled life for you. And so I want to talk to you guys about the perspective, right? Anytime something happens to you, you can look through a different lens and look back and say, what can I take from this event that happened to me or in my life? And how can I turn these negative things and what can I learn? So for me, give you an example, I grew up here all the time. We can't afford that, right? And a lot of people would take that and be like, oh, I can't afford that. I can't spend money. I need to be frugal. I've always flipped it around and said, I don't want to go to a store and not be able to afford anything. So what am I going to do that when I go to a store, I'm able to buy anything I want? What I've always done is figured out what I want and then figure out a way to get to it. So if something costs me $100,000 and at that moment I can't afford it, I'm going to figure out what work I need to put in to make that happen. I'm going to say, what would I have to do? Skills would I have to learn to be able to afford this item? And I've been able to do that. I have a pretty cool car collection, and that's how I got that car collection. I never worried about the price. When I started dreaming about these cars, I could never afford them. I just looked at people who had these and did what they did, got good at sales, learned a little bit about real estate, and then by no means am I the best at sales, or by no means am I any good at real estate. I'm just average at best. And with that, it's opened a lot of doors. And all I did was change my perspective on how I perceive the situation, because it didn't fuel me or help me in any way. If I said, oh, well, I heard my whole life I can't afford things. I guess it's true. I can't. No, I could shift my mindset behind that. And that's what I had to do. And figure out a different way. I perceived what they said wasn't true. And then I could decide what was true to me. And so that was just one story I think a lot of us could relate to. Another story is I grew up in a house of abuse, right? Mom had her significant others abuse her, heard my grandma about her abuse, never saw her abuse. My grandpa that she's been married to my entire life has always been a great role model for me, but I heard about it, right? I saw my mom's abuse and heard about it even more, right? I had trauma with that I could have said, oh, I should never be in relationships. They always end in abuse. And at one point, I did handle things that way, right? I would never uh, be in a serious relationship because I would look at it as, oh, I'm going to be an abuser. Well, that's not the case. I get to have a perspective shift and realize I can do the exact opposite of what I saw. I can see something that was bad and I can determine I don't want to be like that. And I can look at the tendencies those people had and not do those things. Or when I catch myself having those tendencies, I can make a shift in my mindset, in my attitude, in my disciplines, and realize I need to do something different so I get a different outcome than what I saw. So that was an event, right? An event that a lot of people would take and say, "Oh, I saw abuse. I'm not meant to be a good partner because I only know how to be an abusive one," or whatever the case might be. And will allow that to keep them from being happy and having a great relationship and learning to be a great communicator. Where on the flip side, my perspective is, hey, I don't want to be like this. Let's really dial in what these people were doing and why they did it and how I can be different and make sure I'm setting an example for any future males behind me. I think in my bloodline and my brother's bloodline, I'm the first male not to abuse a woman. And I'm very proud of that. And the only reason I was able to do that is because I had a different perspective on the events that happened to us. As far back as we can go, we know of males abusing their significant others. And it's because all of them had a perspective of this is what we do. That was the examples they saw. They never took the time to learn or understand that just because they had an event happen in their life, that they didn't have to turn out that way. They got to choose the outcome and they got to decide how they perceived things, right? And so that's just another prime example. So whenever you're going through something in life, a challenge, I want you to really focus on the things that will benefit you with that, right? Oftentimes, I share two stories with you where you could always focus on the bad and it doesn't serve you. It does you no good and will actually cause you more pain in my experience and set you back and just keep you from living the life of fulfillment that you deserve and desire. And if you were just to change your perspective when a bad event happens and focus on the takeaways from that event that make you a better person, I think we would all have better lives. So, what I want you guys to take away from this is you going through your day to day actions when someone, this is another prime example, when someone cuts me off anymore, man, I don't flip them off. I don't curse at them anymore. I don't give them that energy. I might give them a thumbs down, but that's it. And people like all the time shrug their shoulders like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Whereas, like, when I flip them off or curse at them, they'd start flipping me off and cursing me off, and now we're both two hotheads on the highway. That's never gonna do anything good for either of us. That's not gonna serve us, right? And a lot of times that anger would last a lot longer, right? And so, I've learned to change my perspective. When that person cuts me off, maybe they're running late to work. Maybe their kid's sick. Maybe something bad just happened and they have to get somewhere so quick. I don't know, and it's not my place to judge. I'm not going to do that anymore. I might give them a thumbs down, like I said, if it was really bad, and just because I think that's a way that people understand that they're doing something wrong. And not everyone always understands what they're doing is wrong. So a thumbs down is the most I'll give a bad driver anymore. And it's amazing how much better my day is when that happens. And a lot of times, how much better their reaction is. They'll be like, oh, wow, I realize I just cut Johnny off. Right. And they will apologize to me. So once again, an event happened. In this case, someone cut me off, and I can choose to get angry and let it ruin my day and be pissed off for who knows how long. Or I could just say, hey, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe I'm gonna let them know with a thumbs down and just make them really think about things, right? And hopefully they do better. But if I get mad at them and flip them off, it's just gonna cause a chain reaction and it's not gonna be any good. So I want you guys to really think about that when you're having a conversation with someone and you don't like what they're saying. I want you to take a step back before you get angry, right? And realize, hey, what is this person trying to say? Maybe they're just don't fully understand. And instead of getting mad at them, really try to focus in on the good things they're giving you. Okay. And how much better do you think your life would be if that's all you focus in is on the good things? Right. So I wanted to give you guys uh this little talk because I believe all of us have events in our life and we get to choose how we perceive them. So anything that happens in your life, I want you to see the positives in it. I want you to perceive, find the good, and change your perspective on any event that happens to you that you believe is negative, because there's something you can learn from it, even if it's learning that you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be in that situation. Whatever it is for you, you have opportunities to learn from every bad thing that's ever happened to you. And I hope you guys take that away from you. I hope you guys have a great Monday. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys could follow and give me a share on Instagram, we're posting a lot and trying to grow my Instagram and this podcast and YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Until later on in the week, you guys have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Properties to Profit podcast. I hope you found today's episode valuable. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and share it with others who might benefit. Follow me on social media for more updates and tips. Until next time, keep turning properties into profits.